Hey YouTubers, it's Steve again, coming from Rescape, my channel that seeks to aid and benefit people by helping them be more aware and informed of their fundamental perception of reality. And I can see Glow looking at me from over there. We'll see if she starts coming over. Today I'm going to be doing a video on, I don't know how to title, I guess, on men and women. And I'm going to say it that way. The context is going to be on me dating, but or more specifically an app, Tinder. I'm sure a lot of you know the Tinder app, but this won't encompass gay, lesbian, transgender, asexual, pansexual, whatever. I'm learning about new ones every day, and maybe it will apply to, if anybody of those groups is watching this, it may apply to you. I don't know. I'm woefully ignorant of everything to do with you guys, including whether or not, like my barber's homosexual, and I was like, well, I don't know if that applies, and then he got offended because he's like, it's exactly the same, like, homosexual relationships are exactly the same. So I'm not saying you guys are different, but that's not the frame of reference that this is coming from. And those are the dogs. Let's see if they start barking. Oh, by the way, about fundamental perception realities, basically the intent of this channel is to make a human being be what they're supposed to be by altering their fundamental perception of reality, causing them to do and be things they didn't know were possible. And then when the analysis of large groups of people coming together with correct fundamental perception of reality and how that historically in the future could change the world. So let's see if they stop barking. So I really don't know how to come across as saying this. Basically, one of the things when you're able to hear God and you're just going out the course of your life and you do new things or you're pursuing things, like, he will be right there with you, like, telling you, basically, God does not miss a minute. Everything is an educational experience. Things that are horrific are an educational experience. Random stuff is an educational experience. Good things are educational experience. So, with me on Tinder, which seems kind of, mundane or lame or whatever, but it wasn't, and this is what happened. So, and he didn't tell me this until I figured it out on my own, because I realized now it had to involve a judgment. But basically, when I'm going through Tinder, and if you guys don't know about Tinder apps, basically an app on your phone where it's anonymous and there's pictures. You have your picture and a brief synopsis yourself, and girls do that too. And then basically, if I like a girl, I swipe left. If I don't, if I don't like her, I swipe left. If I like her, I swipe right. And you can click on the picture for the synopsis, whatever. Anyway, so one of the things that I was doing, and I've been doing this Tinder thing for several weeks now, if not longer, but I was very critical because I mistook preference for judgment. So I was very critical of these girls, especially some of the lesser attractive ones, to the extent that last night I realized what I was doing, and then as soon as I realized it, oh no, God was like, yeah, that's right, and this is what I was doing, or what I wasn't doing. What I wasn't doing was acknowledging the correct fundamental perception reality that every single girl on that app and every woman in the world and man God created them intentionally to look the way they looked, like their facial structure or whatever. You can say, like, well, if they're not being healthy, that's one thing, but like, if I think a girl doesn't look pretty and I make that judgment on her, then that's a false perception, a fundamental perception reality that then breaks me from, at least, partly from God, who, if you consider God to be true through true fundamental perception reality, such that, oh God, I don't know where I'm going with this. Basically, what he replaced it with is that I had to honor each girl, like each girl that I saw on the picture. Even when I swiped left and didn't want to, it had to be because I didn't prefer them. And then the saying I don't prefer a girl is then a judgment on myself. And then I was like, well, judging myself would be bad too, except it isn't if it's based on truth. So if I find a true preference, then I learn something new about myself, and that judgment is truly me. So in that way, Tinder became more of a self-education as far as like what girls do I like and not like. And it wasn't just that. As soon as I overcame that boundary, God was like, okay, so what do you not prefer about her? Or what do you prefer about her? And then literally, I'm not joking, I shit you not, I don't know, last night this happened and I freaked out, like I had to stop. Basically, depending on what preference I wanted, then the girls on Tinder very strongly started, like when I was swiping through, started taking on those preferences. And so let's say like red hair and freckles for whatever, then like literally like every third picture would be a girl with red hair and freckles. And then even as I honed that down, to like more specifically, then like different qualities of what I was looking for started showing up in the girls. I'm not kidding. This is freaking me out. And then, but what happened the next morning or this afternoon when I was doing it was I simply acknowledged that it was God doing that, and that I didn't know how He does that or how He bends the laws of probability or whatever, but that it was Him and it wasn't me. Because last night when I thought it was me, then I couldn't maintain it, and then it started crushing my mind, started going insane. So I just stop and pray and just go to sleep. So, but this morning when I acknowledged it was Him, then it became more and more strong and more of a learning preference, and it was such a sense of peace too, because when you honor every girl on the Tinder app, I mean, you know, that's a nice thing to do, but more importantly, you're acknowledging the truth that they're created specifically by God. So if they're not as attractive, then you have to ask yourself, why do you think that? Because God doesn't think that, because He created them that way. And then I'll talk to God about this. Like, you know, you cannot offend God. Like, believe it, as far as I know, maybe it's like child sacrifice or something. But so I had to ask Him, okay, well, more attractive girls can get husbands that make more money, and so they're richer, and so there's got to be truth to that. And then He's like, well, what's the truth to money? Like, what's the truth to the whole hierarchical system of like having more salary and less salary? And then He was pointing out the fact that people that make less money actually do a lot better when they're following Him and not wanting to make money and things like that. And so basically He was just tearing down all these ideas of like, if a woman is, I do not prefer a woman, because I consider her, at least from my point, from a judgment on myself, that I'm preferring her as being unattractive. If another guy can think she's amazing, and then when they get married, who cares what other guys view her as? If her husband views her as being amazing, who cares? You know, because nobody else has to be a part of that. So I don't know. So I was like, okay, so that means that if I'm ever married, then looking attractive to women not my wife would then not make sense. And he was like, yeah, that's exactly right. And so anyway, this is different things. He's shattering the stuff, like all this. My last video talking about lies, like just things they lied to you about. Here's a video. In this video, here's a lie that we're lied about. More attractive people make more money and are happier than lesser attractive people. The truth is, if you have a more attractive person and a less attractive person, neither knowing the truth, the lesser attractive person will be less happy because they view the more attractive person as being better than them. In truth, if you have a more attractive, you know, based off societal standards, if you have a more attractive, or, you know, biological evolutionary standards, I'm not disregarding that, more attractive and lesser attractive person, and they both have a direct connection to God, they both understand that there's no difference. That from God's perspective, there's no difference. They have that correct fundamental perception of reality. So, and then you can be like, well, what about money? And the thing with money is you can have $1 billion in your bank account, but if you haven't spent it yet, what is it? It's like, well, it's the, the potential to have things in the future. Well, God is the potential to have things in the future. It's like, if you want things in the future, just go to God. Like, why do you need $1 billion? It's like, well, you can have it sooner. And it's like I'm serious. These are conversations I have with God. And what I'm coming to find is that He has a lot more influence than what we give Him credit for, except that we don't give Him credit for it. So anyway, basically it comes down to, if I don't prefer a woman, it's not because I think she's ugly. It's literally because I'm making the judgment on myself and not her, which I can make a judgment on myself because it's me, and then if God backs that up, and then the real judgments made between two people are between two married people, because you have that oneness there. And they start, and when you have a married couple spending a lifetime together, they grow together and understand each other like God understands them. So they become more and more, they understand each other more than any other person possibly could, because of the way that they live with each other. So that the judgments they make on each other are in truth. And so in that way, I guess you can make a judgment on someone else if they're your spouse and you see them the way God does, and then that judgment is the truth that God sees in them as a person, which is also your preference for them. Anyway, okay, so this is Rescape. This is men and women. I'm sure there's a bunch of other things I could go into, but this is mind blowing. So this just happened to me last night and this afternoon. So, and this is every day. This is an example of Tinder, but you want to talk about hearing God, like I do this every day. It's always something different. So this is real. This can be a real possibility for you if you want to pursue it. It doesn't start out as definitive as this, but you can literally just ask yes or no questions and then expect a response and you'll get one. Like, you don't have to be or do anything. God's everywhere. He can do that for you right now. Okay, so I think that's it. Steve Rescape, post in the comments if you have any questions, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks, bye.